Hey everyone, welcome back to some new r/Tales from Retail. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called This Didn't Work Out for Him. About 20 years ago, I was working as an assistant store manager for a small mall-based toy store chain. These were not terribly large stores, 3 to 5 short aisles, plus the front end and register area. And we were required to greet anyone who came into the store within 29 seconds. As a result, we usually had a pretty good idea of how many customers were in the store and where they were. Also relevant to the story, all items were individually priced. That is, each item had a price sticker on it, with partial perforation, so it would cheer if anyone tried to remove it. One evening, a college-aged guy and his girlfriend came into the store and headed to the aisle with the radio-controlled cars, where they proceeded to spend approximately 45 minutes to an hour declining all offers of assistance. We do not have that large of a selection of radio-controlled cars, so this seems a bit excessive. Apparently the young lady also thinks this is excessive, as every time I pass near them I see she has her arms crossed, is sighing loudly at regular intervals, rolling her eyes. She may even have been tapping her foot by the end of it. Finally they come to the register to check out. They are bringing one of the largest and most expensive RC cars we carry. I ring it up and he balks at the $59.99 prices. I thought that was $10 and points at the price tag. I take a look. Sometimes we did misprice things and we would honor it if it was our mistake. But I can see that the tag has been swapped. The perforations I mentioned earlier are slightly skewed, as though someone tried to peel a price sticker off a cheaper item and place it on this one, but didn't quite get it even. The corner of the tag isn't sticking to the box and it easily peels off. There's a spot where you can clearly tell the old tag was removed. Finally, each tag has a SKU on it, the stock number for the tagged item, and when I punch that in, it comes up an obviously different item. Since the company had a no confrontation policy with regards to thieves, I tell the guy I can't honor the price, since someone obviously changed the tag. I look him in the eye and tell him that sometimes people try to rip us off by swapping tags. That someone probably was in the process of switching the tags when an employee walked by and they left to avoid getting caught. That I wished I could catch them doing it, because it's technically shoplifting and we could prosecute. But I apologized for the inconvenience and said since this is clearly a case of someone trying to steal from us, I couldn't give it to him at that price. I'm not sure if he was bright enough to realize I knew that he was the one who swapped the tags, or just thought he lucked out. He looked a little uncomfortable and said he understood. She looked very angry and didn't say anything, and they both left. I put a new price tag on the item and the item he obviously got the $10 tag off of, and go about the rest of my shift. About an hour or so later, the guy and his, I assume based on her facial expression and body language, now ex-girlfriend came back and asked if we had seen any car keys. I managed to not start laughing until after I had told them no, and they left again. Sadly, wherever he lost his keys, it wasn't in my store. The last story is called He Didn't Get the Concept of a Refund. I work at a computer store. At the time of this story, I worked at the return desk. It would often function as a customer service desk, but technically there is no customer service desk, as the members of staff are expected to be able to help with every aspect of their respective department. Everyone is customer service. Also, you have to know that I am allowed to be very flexible with our return policy, as long as it is within reason. Also, I hate working the returns desk. This day was like any average retail day. The store I work at is run relatively well, so the day passes by smoothly. That is until about an hour before my shift ended, when a teenager comes up to my desk hoping to return some computer parts. This includes RAM, a motherboard and a CPU. He doesn't have the receipts, however receipts are not required as long as I can find the transactions in the system. Thankfully he has an account and I am able to find the RAM and motherboard. For the RAM, I was able to give him a refund, no issue. However, the motherboard was about 50 days old. Our return policy is 30 days, but I was feeling nice. He's a kid after all, and I remember how confusing I found the world when I was his age. I told him I couldn't give him his money back, but he could exchange it for a new one or get a gift card. This was standard practice for returns outside of 30 days, but within 60. Well, I can't have a gift card. My dad will get mad. Okay, but I can't give you your money back. You are well over the return period. So it's either the gift card or an exchange. I guess I'll get a new motherboard then. Which one do you want? The same one, I guess. At this point, I realized that I had forgotten to ask why he wanted to return it. It wasn't required anymore, as any open product at this point would be sent back to the distributor for inspection anyway. Turns out his computer wasn't working after he put it all together, so he needed new stuff. Yeah, I don't know why it's not working. Okay, did you want to go look around for other stuff, or did you want me to call a salesman over to grab you another board? Just give me a new one. Now, are you going to refund me for the CPU? I hadn't gotten to the CPU yet, as I was still pretty new to returns and I was doing them one at a time to make sure I didn't mess up. Now, of course, I have to be careful about returns, making sure the item is the correct one and all that, but I have to be extra careful with CPU returns. So I opened up the package to do my checks and I instantly realized why this customer's computer wasn't working. For those who don't know, the CPU is a small square chip that essentially acts as a computer's brain. It's a super important and extremely fragile piece of equipment. Depending on the brand of CPU, there may or may not be pins on the bottom that are essential for the functionality of both the CPU and the rest of the computer. They are extremely easy to bend or break. However, it's also extremely easy to not bend or break them. So there really isn't a good reason for someone to damage a CPU. This kid's CPU looked like he took a hammer to it. Well, this is why your computer isn't working. What? The pins are smashed. Nothing in the computer can work with damages like this. Oh, well, can I return it? I didn't want to say anything yet because I felt bad for the kid. But we were unlikely to take it back due to the damage and that he clearly bought it over 30 days ago, as I had yet to find a receipt for the CPU. It was a pretty expensive CPU, so I was hoping that management would make an exception and let him exchange it. So I kept looking for his receipt for the CPU. He didn't have a lot of transactions, so I figured I could just brute force it and go through them one at a time. And yet I couldn't find it. It wasn't on any of his receipts. I'm not finding the CPU under your account. Is there another name it could be under? We could try my dad's name. His name is Teen's dad. I look up his name and no account shows up. There's no account under your father's name. Oh, he doesn't have an account. I'm the only one who shops here. It's at this point that I realize that I'm dealing with a teenager who is slightly stupider than your average teenager. However, I keep my composure and keep moving forward. I try not to treat people differently based on their intelligence. In a last-ditch effort, I check the transactions based on the CPU's serial number. We have to manually attach transactions to accounts, and sometimes the cashiers neglect to do that for any number of reasons. However, when I scanned the serial number, nothing popped up, which was weird. Did you buy this at this location or a different location? Different location? I admit I should have asked that sooner, so I could have pulled up the remote search window from the get-go. However, when I pulled it up, it showed that he had never made any purchase at any of our other locations. He had only ever shopped at my store's location. I was thinking that it could be a glitch in the system and hoping that I could access the more complete central server database. Which computer store location did you buy this from? Oh, I didn't buy this from computer store. I bought this from Amazon. I just looked at him silently. I didn't know how I got to this point. Why did he think we would take this CPU that he bought from Amazon? So I asked, why are you trying to get a refund for a product you didn't even buy from here? What do you mean? You didn't give us the money for this, you gave it to Amazon. Therefore, we don't have money to give back to you. That's at Amazon. So, I want my money back. Your money isn't here, your money is at Amazon. If you want your money, you need to go to Amazon. So you can't take care of it? No, you didn't give us money for that CPU. That CPU has no monetary value that I can give back to you. Can I exchange it? I'm afraid not, we don't do trade-ins. I assumed he was talking about a trade-in. No, I want to exchange it. Internally, I'm banging my head against the wall. How could a teenager not understand the concept that a return can only go back to where he originally bought it from? In order to do an exchange, you would have needed to buy this product here or at one of our other locations, but you didn't. You bought it at Amazon. There's nothing more I can do for you. You need to send this back to Amazon. So you're not going to help me? No. At this point he leaves and I'm relieved that he eventually understood. Or so I thought, because not even a minute later he comes back with my manager. He wouldn't let me return this and was mean to me. I want a refund. I'm sorry about that, sir. Do you have your receipt? No, but I bought it last month from Amazon. I kid you not, that's what he said. Why would I give you money for something that you didn't even buy from us? Are you saying you won't give me a refund? There's no refund to give and nothing I can do for you. The teen then storms off to our salesman and says to them, they were mean to me, called me names and won't give me a refund for my item. That's not my department. It's their decision when it comes to refunds. The teen then storms off and tries this routine over and over again. Each time getting more and more upset over the next 20 minutes until he is quite literally ugly crying to the store's general manager about how horrible everyone was to him and how we won't give him a refund for a CPU. The general manager then asked him to wait and came to me. Why won't you give him a refund for a CPU? At this point I don't really care how old it is. He didn't buy it from here, he bought it from Amazon, asked him. The general manager did just that. When he heard that the teen did in fact buy the CPU from Amazon, the general manager essentially asked him why he thought that we would take it and give him a refund. The teen said someone in the repairs department said that we would take care of him. This turned out to be a misunderstanding or a lie, as the technician was only saying that I was the one who handled returns, not that I definitely for sure give him a refund. Eventually he left, tears in his eyes and without a refund. He later left me a survey review that I made fun of him, threw his item on the floor and refused to give him a refund. We have cameras. My general manager had that review dismissed. It's insanely annoying to get a survey review dismissed, so it shows just how ridiculous the general manager thought the situation was. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel. I hope you have a great day. Bye bye.